Hello, welcome to the next episode in Ike's Boom Boom Room. You like that? Little spin. How do you do? Top of the morning introduction. Another lonely stream. It's just me. Give it up for the loneliness. Ranting into the void once again. I owe you guys about, I don't know, 3 to 6 months worth of installments episodes. So forgive me if this is like a very like soon, a very like back-to-back celebration, reintroduction, next installment, new episode of the Boom Boom Room. But you know, there's a lot I want to talk about. Of course, I don't have a guest because this comes in rapid succession, even though it's only been about 2 weeks ish since the last episode. The stuff has happened, so much stuff that I want to just jump right into it. Like I said, I don't want these to be more than 30 minutes, but I do want to thank the overwhelming support that I received in the last episode. I got a lot of people who looked at it that I didn't think would even be looking at it. A lot of people gave me topics. A lot of people in person was like, I heard your joint. I agree. I liked it, and I appreciate that. So now that that's out of the way, I really wanted to do this installment Thursday, but I realized there's Tokyo Game Show stuff going on, and now it's Saturday. That is September 28th as of recording. I don't know what I waited for. It was such a snooze fest. I haven't heard anything at all about Tokyo Game Show. I mean, I heard, there's a new Snake Eater Delta trailer, which that's cool, but I think what people were really looking for was a release date. It's still the window of 2024, and we don't have the release date. So when is this coming out? Christmas? What are we doing here? I think that frustrated a few people. I stayed for the the only one that I really watched is the Capcom one. For everything else, I got highlights. I saw the Capcom one. They largely showed a bunch of trailers for a bunch of crap that's already out. When I say crap, I mean one of my highly acclaimed can't wait to play games, Dead Rising Remaster Deluxe. I think that's what it's called. It's a very convoluted name for a remaster, but yeah, it's already out. I haven't gotten it yet. I plan on streaming it soon. What else did they talk about? Everything else was like, of that same ilk, games that are already out, showing trailers for it. The only thing that was new, I believe, let's go back. Only thing that was new, I think, was the Monster Hunter stuff. And for some reason, I'm not too excited for it. I mean, I'm not that big of a Monster Hunter fan. I got my introduction playing Monster Hunter Rise for the Switch, and then again, when it came to PC, I also I dabbled, I should say. I didn't really play, because I don't even remember which exact Monster Hunter title it was, but it was for PSP, and that was the first time I actually get hands on one of the titles, and it didn't last too long, obviously, because the next game I played was Rise, and I sunk a lot of hours into Rise. It was probably my game of the year when it came out initially for the Switch. But no real excitement. I mean, the Monster Hunter people who, eat Monster Hunter, consume Monster Hunter on a regular, I'm sure they're excited, but not really for me. What else? Let's go down the list here. I have the whole docket here, but this is all at the end, so I guess I'm going to go in reverse order. This is from Brian Dinsdale from IGN, and I don't know. I don't know if I should show it. I'm not going to show it. Yeah, the new trailer for Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, it was essentially most of the bosses of that game, a trailer exclusively for the villains. Then we have My Hero Academia skins coming to Overwatch 2. Who cares? Age of Mythology Retold. Who cares? StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 coming to Game Pass. I'm sure that crowd is very happy about that, but I'm not one of those people. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gets a new trailer. Now, this one I actually want to give a shot. I know for several reasons people aren't into it. A lot of comparisons to Uncharted and the fact that this is first person, and all those kind of conversations that popped up when the initial trailer came out. but I'm still with it. I think the conversation now more is that this was an Xbox exclusive for this year, but it will also be coming to PlayStation. I feel like that's now the new story. Is it coming to Game Pass? That's the only way I'll play it. If it's coming to PlayStation as well, then I'm just gonna wait. I'm a big proponent of just waiting nowadays when it comes to video games when it's convenient for me. You know, not only can you not trust a product to be finished by day one, but at the same time, games are very expensive. I feel like the most frugal consumers there are in this world are gamers. Nobody is more in tune with the development process, the bugs and kinks to expect, which consoles is coming to, and how that benefits you as a consumer, as opposed to like feeding into this hype culture that every other culture has like yanked from sneaker culture. So, you know, I'll wait for a deal, and if the first deal isn't hitting me right, I'll wait longer. Like WWE 2K24, that's another story. But I haven't bought it. It was on sale, 50% off, I think the last installment of this, and now it's coming free to PlayStation Plus members for October. And that is when I will be playing that game for free. And it's like, you know, great. that you know what, we might as well just move on to that, because it's like I said, there's nothing really going on with Tokyo Game Show, and I want to get this done very fast. So what we opened up with on the last episode, which was, you know, PlayStation, it's so over, bro, but now we're so back, bro, because I'll show the actual screen for this, because we have a new exclusive PlayStation 30th anniversary collection out now, that every single one of the scalpers yanked up. You know, first it started with the disc drive, because you can't get disc drives not included, but in this iteration it is. And now we have just wholesale yanking this up. Unfortunate. It looks pretty, don't get me wrong. It's delicious. Look at this shit. Look at this, man. It's so pretty, but you know, I don't need it, and I think a lot of gamers are feeling that way. I don't need it. Yeah, it looks nice, but what does that do for me? And then, you know, going now in chronological order of my docket, which happens to be from last week to today. Palworld was sued by Nintendo for patent infringement before its PlayStation 5 debut, as it was announced on PlayStation State of Play for September, which was hilarious to me. This is from Game Rant, which Game Rant, I believe, is going through its own thing, because it is no, it's not Game Rant that's going through stuff. It's another outlet that's going through stuff, which I'm sure we'll get to, because there's a link in here from that said site. On September 18th, 2024, this is by Liam Ferguson from Game Rant. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company filed a lawsuit against the Palworld developer Pocket Pair. My out loud reading is atrocious. I'm just gonna go to the browser so you don't have to see my stupid head, my stupid cheetah head. Filed into the Tokyo District Court, this is a patent infringement lawsuit seeking compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld infringed on multiple patent rights. What these patents are is currently unknown, with even Pocket Pair admitting the following day that it isn't sure yet, but the fact remains that Nintendo is suing one of the most successful Pokemon imitators yet. People have wondered if this would happen since Palworld's launch, but this case isn't quite what they had in mind. Early access for Steam, yada yada yada, gave them 15 million just 1 month, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Right? Yeah, I don't think we need to go through all this hoopla. So after all that, it was banned in Japan. Tom Warren at The Verge, I believe, senior editor. Yep, Palworld's PS5 port is on hold indefinitely in Japan, while Palworld launches in 68 markets on PS5 today. It's not available in Japan, where Nintendo is suing the game's developer for patent infringement. Now, you know, the streets is saying, well, it's pretty much divided from what I'll call sane people and just people who just hate Nintendo, because that's what it is, or people who just want to play their game and they don't care about, you know, legal issues, which fair enough, right? They're the gamers at the end of the day. The main concern should be video games and the games that they want to play. But the two main opinions is, of course, they're suing Palworld. This has been a long time coming, and it's very strategic how they did it. They gathered all this information up. They're suing not on copyright, they're suing on patent, which goes a lot longer way. And the difference between copyright and patent is, when you're copyrighting, the issue would be the 3D models, the designs of some of the Palworld monsters and the Pokemon monsters, whereas patent infringement is like the literal mechanics of said properties, said IP, which would be the capturing and the trainer aspect of it all, right? And as well as doing it right when it was getting ready to be announced for its PlayStation 5 debut and its availability in 68 markets. And now it has the backing of its whole country, Nintendo, in Japan. And it's not even available there anymore, which is a huge market, I would believe. A huge chunk of gamers. And then there's the other that are just like, you know, Nintendo, bro, why you always suing, like Moist Critical Charlie? He's one of those guys. I very much so usually am on his side with most subjects, but when it comes to Nintendo, although I understand his grievances, especially when it comes to emulators and how they're just way too harsh on those people and just reselling and regurgitating games, even though they get accused of that's actually Sony's model, and I would like to point that out as we get further and further into the state of play stuff. I do not agree with the fact that Nintendo should just be taking this lying down. Like, there's legitimate reasons why they should be going after this shit. There's legitimate reasons to sue. There's legitimate backing, and as you can see, this is a very biased opinion. I am on the side of Nintendo and the big megacorps, and I'm not really supporting the little indie dog and the what do they call those? What was Joey Wheeler's character basically in Yu-Gi-Oh? He was the what kind of dog? What do they call those? Underdogs, right? You're not supporting the underdog. No, I'm not. Is this because I'm a giant Pokemon fan and Gengar's behind me and I have him tattooed right here? I don't know, but that's just how I feel. Whether or not I liked it, or whether or not I like this property, that would be my feelings on the whole thing. So that moves us to the state of play. There were a lot of remasters, and a lot of like actual announcements. Like the big one is Ghost of Yotai. If you don't know what I'm doing, that's Chris Tucker breaking up karaoke in Rush Hour 2 while he's flashing the badge. I would love to put the clip in here, but I don't want to get any kind of demonetized. So we're gonna keep it pushing. Let's go to PlayStation blog for Ghost of Yotai really quick. Sucker Punch's latest adventure introduces a new hero. This is Andrew Goldfarb. Atsu. All right. And the introduction of our new hero, Atsu, female protagonist, which I think is pretty cool. This is set I think a century after. We'll get into that, but I wanted to keep something fresh but familiar. We look beyond Jin Sakai's story. I don't know if it's Sakai, even though I played Ghost of Tsushima. I don't remember. I played it once on PlayStation 4 and then never again. I never played the expansion, and I haven't played the PS5 upgrade, so the way to pronounce his name is gone to me, just as it is with Alloy, Ally, whatever. It's been too long. Anyway, This led us to Ghost of Yotai, a new protagonist, a new story to unfold, a new region of Japan to explore. While we aren't diving into story specifics yet today, we can reveal that Atsu's journey takes place in 1603, more than 300 years, a few centuries after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. Our story is set in the land surrounding Mount Yotai, a towering peak in the heart of Izo, an area of Japan known as, I'm not going to try and say that, Kaido, Beast Pirate Kaido. In present day, in 1603, this area was outside the rule of Japan and filled with sprawling grasslands, snowy tundras, and unexpected dangers. It's a far cry from the organized samurai clan who live in Tsushima, and it's the setting for the original story we can't wait to tell. And that's all great. You know, you had your not normal gamers, which is a percentage of gamers I am not willing to admit to live on a podcast, but you know, another female protagonist. When we save the game and we learn new moves and we write in our diary like Jen did, will she be naked? And what are you gonna do? Some of these kids are kids. I'm not gonna act like I wasn't like being a weirdo preteen over Laura Croft's diagonal like boobies. So. All right, next on the docket, we have Dragon Age, the Veilguard, right? I played Dragon Age 1 and 2, and I skipped 3 because by the time 3 came out, I couldn't tell you a lick about 1 and 2. This is big when I was like in my BioWare phase. I was really in love with the Mass Effect series, and I was on my very first few attempts to beat Knights of the Old Republic. I'm on my 38th, and I'm still like at the start of the game. And you know, I've seen a lot of like this has been highly anticipated, the continuation of this series. I think Morrigan was announced, who was like a main staple in the rest of the series. I remember her for gamer reasons. I was gonna say another word, but for gamer reasons, I was like 17 when this came out, the first two. And you know, everybody's been anticipating it, but it's a new age where like things get scrutinized just at the gate, at the onset of you know, debuting what it is things are gonna look like. And everybody is just
the character creator in Dragon Age the Veilguard.
I don't want to play that. They claim it's incredible, but you know, the comment section says otherwise. They are not fans of how pretty much everybody looks like sexy Squidward. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, if you're not looking on the YouTube version, we have sexy Squidward with horns coming out of his head with the caption "Every Dragon Age character." And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now. Is the character creation is not that great. People are doing the reverse of giving my money. Just take my money, and it's like I'm keeping my money. And yeah, you know, DEI hires, and like I said, it's been a long time since a Dragon Age game came out. For some reason, I think Baldur's Gate avoided this until it came out, but now that Baldur's Gate has come out, like these kind of games where, you know, there's a whole bunch of exploration and freedom to look however you want and, you know, identify as whatever you want, that becomes like some kind of an attack on traditional values. It's a lot of brain rot, ladies and gentlemen. It's just seeped and poured, and it's like the Ouroboros of like eating its own tail at this point. It's just so that's Dragon Age. What else they got? You know, this goes back to what I was saying about well, maybe I should hold off on this. No, let's talk about it. Horizon is getting a remaster, but this was leaked before the state of play, and then by the time we got the state of play, we got all the specifics. It's going to be a $9.99 upgrade for people who already have it. It's a remaster nobody really asked for. And this goes to my point about the PS5 library, the sort of generation it is that, you know, people accuse Nintendo of doing, which is like reselling old games to you. It's what Sony's doing right now. Most of the games that are coming out for the PS5 are remasters. or complete remakes, and those are the only titles thriving on that console. You look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's like the game of the year for most people, just based on a bunch of these IGN polls and gamer polls and these 6 months in type titles. And I don't think anything that's coming up this year is going to compete with that, unless I'm missing something. But yeah, Horizon Remaster, that's coming out. As I alluded to before, it took me a while, actually. I played Horizon Forbidden West on PC, and I didn't like it. I didn't get it. And then somebody told me it is like I forgot how they described it. I was playing it one way, and then somebody said it is like oh man, they used some kind of specific term that made me look at the game differently and play it differently. Like it's a sneak-based kind of game. And ever since they said that, I was like, okay, I get how to play this. I think that's what they said. And I had a lot more fun with it on a mechanical level. The story really wasn't grabbing me. Lance Reddick was there. RIP to the GOAT. So there were some aspects that I really dug, like the gameplay and the setting and some of the characters, but the overall story just never really grabbed me, and so I just never played it again. And then the sequel came out, and now there's remaster, and all of this happened in a span of 7 years from its original debut to now. And it's like, the sentiment is, who asked for this? But the greater sentiment is, why are we remastering games 7 years fresh, essentially? I believe The Last of Us is on its second or third remaster, if I'm remembering correctly. There's the original, and then it got remastered for PS4, and that was remastered for PS5. So yeah, the third remaster. That's nuts. Which we'll get to that game in a little bit, because it revolves around the state of play. And yeah, I agree with that sentiment. We should not be remaking games like that. The PC version of Horizon, the original Horizon, was the remaster, in my humble opinion. That's what the remasters should be, essentially. But PlayStation doesn't have any real titles that are really like working for them, except for the ones that work for them already. And so they're just stuck in this inertia where they have to they have to rely on, they don't have to do Astrobot. Even though that's a new game, it still falls in line of the celebration of all games and looking back. And I think that's what the Kotaku article was talking about, although I think it kind of mixed up words with uninspired and what was it that they actually said? Can we look that up? Astrobot's soulless devotion to the Sony brand. Yeah, that was the title. And this is from Cole Cronman from Kotaku. And it's like, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think the devotion is a problem. I think there's a lack of innovation. I think I have a buddy who said this perfectly. He's going to be on the podcast eventually when we can talk more in depth about the PlayStation stuff. Shout out to Eric Guzman. My issue with Kotaku's take on Astrobot is the use of the word soulless. The word soulless is now a crutch for lazy critique. What the author describes isn't a soulless game. It describes an unoriginal game, which granted it's not original, but the game is full of soul. Absolutely. The game is full of soul. It's full of charm. It's very unoriginal in its core aspects of gameplay. But yeah, like soulless is, I think it's a crutch of a word. I think it was a misuse of a word. This finishes opinion here, so I don't just cut them off at the heels. Soul is often used to describe an intense energy, the passion behind the art. Astrobot was full of it. There's shifts in gameplay to represent older games, near perfect sound effects when encountering bots from older games, i.e. finding Snake hiding in a box and hearing the alert, the different sounds that blare out of your dual sense as you step on different surfaces, an imaginative soundtrack, and a very precise attention to detail in the level design. The game oozes soul. So, I haven't played it. I take that at his word. When I play it myself, hopefully, which is before we actually have that episode that he'll be on, we can talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, that's my opinion on remasters and Horizon Remaster as a whole. Stellar Blade, one of the only original games to come out this year that I have not completed. I may finally now complete because there will be a breath of new life in this update coming out. You get so after these initial updates were announced, photo mode and the thing that everybody else is excited about, the Near Automata DLC, where you get to play as 2B. Is that her name? B2? The girl with the cheeks out, like Ice Spice. She'll be in it somehow. It's like two bad bitches colliding. It's like the Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, or Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion team up of 2024. But yeah, I haven't beaten it. I'm hoping to get some excitement garnered around this game so I can go back to it. But what I was gonna say is the other update that came out is there's a cleavage patch where instead of looking like in situations where her body moves where there should be cleavage, there wasn't before, now there is. Can I find that real quick so you guys don't think that I'm making this up? How can I find this? I think I liked it. Which makes me look so bad. Thank goodness likes are like hidden now. It makes me look so bad. That's such an indictment on what it is. I just thought it was interesting. Damn it. Did I save it? Bookmark it, which is probably an even worse implication is if I bookmark it, right? Let's just look up stuff. I feel like I'm like burying myself deeper and deeper into a hole. That sounds crazy too. Ah! All right, so there we go. Let's look at all these people here. They have video visuals of it. No cleavage. Further enhances Eve's physics. Yeah. Lally Repop. They improved jiggle mechanics. Gooners 1. Yeah, Gooner. I think that's way better. I don't want to be sounding like a real gooner out here, but it's people have noticed. So yeah, that's Stellar Blade, and for this last part, I want to talk about Soul Reaver Remaster. That's also coming out 25th anniversary. That was also leaked before the State of Play showed the footage, and which is a coincidence, because I have been watching videos about Soul Reaver and Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is also coming to PlayStation Plus alongside Dino Crisis. So, like, it's such I think my friend who I want, it's Mr. Grimm. He's not a stranger to the podcast. He's the one that put me on the path to like talk about the Soul Reaver stuff, to watch the Soul Reaver stuff. There's a Kickstarter that he backed as well. I want to get his thoughts on just how the shit looks. How he feels about it, how he feels about the looks, the different changes, what he's expecting, what he wants, what he doesn't want. So I'm gonna see if I can find him on Discord right now. Hold on. All right, cool. We got Mr. Grimm in the house. I appreciate you for being free. I'm sorry I'm butting into your fucking weekend. I know you're not alone.
I am not alone. She's right here saying he's so almondy.
What's up? What's going on? Thank you for letting me invade your life.
Hey.
All right, talk to me about Soul Reaver. Tell me how you feeling about this remaster.
How much time you got, buddy? How much time you got, buddy? Well, first of all, I'm excited for it. It's been 21 years, sir, since the last game. And from the looks of it, the graphics look really good on it, which I know that's such a weird thing for me to say about anything, is the graphics look good. But the designs on everything look real sharp and everything, so
people been hating on it. People been hating on how it looks for some odd reason.
Well, I'm sorry it's not the fucking Last of Us, you fucking plebs. Well, the story's so good. Is it really? This is a real story. You'd have no idea what you're about to get into.
I guess what I mean is they think that like older aspects look better. Like that creature thing that his brother turns into looks way scarier than he does in the screenshot now.
It's a polygon back in the day, though. How is that scary? That's like seeing Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 and being like, "Oh my god, I'm shook." Are you?
So, can you tell me about the Kickstarter? I don't know nothing about the Kickstarter. Is this the same shit as the Kickstarter, or is it something different?
No, that was a prequel graphic novel they're doing. I think it's like 500 pages for a graphic novel, and
it already met.
It was like a goal of. Oh yeah, I mean they had a $25,000 goal, and they hit like 1.5 million or something.
You were part of that,
It's
right? You
official.
donated to that shit,
I
right?
was. I donated 100 because I wanted a specific cover, and some people in the house were like, "Nah, just go ahead and get all three versions of the Soul Reaver and get the two masks." And I was like, "That is
Oh
$750. No, thank you.
Lord. It doesn't.
I am not that obsessed."
Did they talk about where it takes place in the timeline or anything at all? Is it
It
canon?
takes play. It is. It takes place before Soul Reaver, so it's when Raziel's a vampire still.
Okay.
That'd be interesting. That's how the other comic for Soul Reaver did back in the day, but it was just a cash grab, one shot type thing.
Did you see that Blood Omen Legacy it came is coming to PlayStation Plus?
I did not. I'm not a big fan of that first one. It's just too dated.
I don't
It's
know.
like I told you when I told you to watch those cutscenes. It was a slog to get through.
I don't know. I really enjoyed that one. I don't know why. Like I don't know the top. I wasn't expecting it to be a top down looking game, and it reminds me
Yeah.
of Baldur's Gate 3 in that like aspect, and especially like top down, same kind of setting, whatever like that. Like I would like I'm interested to play that shit.
Well, you gotta remember, I played Soul Reaver 2 for. I played Soul Reaver first, but I didn't
Okay.
really play it. I played Soul Reaver 2 first, then Defiance, then Blood Omen 2, then Soul Reaver, and then Blood Omen.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Go
I
back.
just went in the complete opposite direction.
Well, yeah,
That's
maybe.
how it was back in the day when you had no money.
Yeah, like yeah, you just grab them. There's no continual like you can't do it from beginning to end like some of these kids can do
Yes,
nowadays and just go back to it. But I think
yes.
that's why it's coming to PlayStation Plus because it was like one of those games locked behind consoles
Oh yeah,
unless you got it
yeah, yeah,
yo
yeah,
ho way. All right, so that's
yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
man.
Man.
Can you give me
All right,
any
cool.
kind of clues on how to intake Soul Reaver Part 2? Anything I should keep in mind? I told everybody I'm doing the watch through. Is there anything I should keep in mind?
You've got to um there's some stuff you have to remember. There's some stuff that's going to happen immediately where you need to you have to pay attention, especially to this one, because when it gets to the end and when he goes, "Now I finally understand." Once Raziel says those words, you have to remember everything that you
Shit.
saw.
Shit.
When you get to Defiance is when you've got to remember all that stuff from Blood Omen that I told you about, like
Gotcha.
Hasha Gik and Come to Me, My Undead Son, shit like that. You have to remember all that, but just go in expecting good things, because again, Soul Reaver 2 is where I really started, and by the
Right.
time I was done with that game, I just remember, because the game just ends. It just
Yeah.
ends. It does not end like a normal game.
No.
You sit there and you're just back at the title screen and you hear annoying ass Skylar White say Kane refused the sacrifice, and then you're like, wait, what? No. That's not how that's you can't leave me on this. I remember I jumped on the computer, got on broadband, whatever the fuck, with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
noise, and was like, all right, what store in the vicinity has the other game, the next one?
Yeah, that shit really does leave you hanging.
Oh my god, yes it does. This one even worse.
Oh, geez, really? Okay, I'll
Oh
keep that
my
in mind.
god, yes. And then Defiance, because they never did anything afterwards. That one just ends, and you're like, well,
That's
maybe
it for the
something will happen
story.
after this.
You're right.
Like, god damn it.
I thank you for your
But
time,
Blood Omen
bro.
2 is going to be the one. That's going to be the one that drives you nuts.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you, bro. All
Yes, yes, bud.
right. I'll holler on the flip side.
Farewell. Yes.
All right.
Goodbye.
All right. Mr. Grims, everybody. Can we get a flex bomb for him? There we go. So yeah, that's the state of play. A lot of people were also kind of disappointed that there was no talk of Spider-Man DLC. It's Jover. They're not uncanceling Spider-Man DLC. They say to be uncanceled. I don't get that. But yeah, they showed a bunch of like, I remember they showed what they were going to roll out a multiplayer where you could play as a bunch of multiverse Spider-Man, and that got scrapped, and I feel like that was the DLC, and now they're like trying to figure out what the DLC looks like now, and they're building through it now. Spider-Man 2, I enjoyed it quite a bit. But it was generally a letdown for me. I don't know why. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a bad sequel, but it just didn't live up to the expectation of the original game. And even Miles Morales, I felt like because those two were just so new, fresh takes, that they were masterpieces, introductory masterpieces, and that the second one, although they did build on it a little bit incrementally, you can fly around with your web wings, you can, zoom, you can improve your web swinging. Is the web swinging is improved. You got the solid save state, so like there's no load screens really. I don't know, it was some storyline elements I didn't like, and I don't know, it just didn't hit the same. So I think it's Jover for Spider-Man. I think all of that should be focused on Wolverine. I think it's Jover. So that's that. Oh yeah, I want to talk about The Last of Us, which is available for PlayStation Plus members right now. That's how I'm playing it for the first time ever. I played the original, and then I played the update for that, I believe. And now I'm playing part 1. I played it for The Last of Us Day on stream. I'll probably be streaming that later on today after this uploads. If you want to check me out, twitch.tv/JokermanUno or Ike's Boom Boom Room on YouTube. And I have my grievances about the game. It's just, I think that everybody praises the story, and the story is not that, revolutionary. But this I guess remaster, of course we're gonna label as a remaster, that was my whole point, really looks beautiful. It's a gorgeous game. I can't lie about that. So I'm really having just a good time looking at it as I play. So come check that out. I'm also looking forward to Silent Hill, which is probably, I'm gonna have to buy that on arrival for $70, and I really try to avoid the $70 thing, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. And I saw it got some flack because it has AI art, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of stuff about the Silent Hill remake that looks great, but also scares me because it feels like they're missing a piece of the game's soul, and just using AI art is kind of a soulless move. So kind of worried about that, but I will be playing it nonetheless. That's it. Thanks again for joining, for being a part of the Ike's Boom Boom Room podcast experience. If you want to expand on anything I spoke about here, please leave a comment to me in the comment section below on YouTube, or reach out on Twitter at JokermanUno. That's Jokerman UNO, not the number 1, you silly goose. And we'll talk to you later. Shouts out to Mr. Grims for making an appearance. And all right, peace.